Monday morning comes. I can't remember what the name of the show is on Sirius XM. It's Danielle Trotta and Larry McReynolds.
I know what you're talking about. It's after the morning drive.
Yeah, after the morning drive.
Which I don't know why Ramblin about Racin isn't on Sirius XM channel 90.
Hello, we're waiting. So
yeah, we're waiting for that phone call.
We're waiting. So they're like, oh, we've got Marcus Smith on, the president of SMI or whatever.
Yeah, and he pissed me off with some comments too, and I want to hear you first, and then I'll respond.
So he comes on and he's talking, I thought we did good in terms of selling tickets this year, and I was like, did you go back and look, because it looks like a typical almost cup race at the time. It's like nobody there, and then he wants to say, yeah, he was. They asked him about like the rules or whatever. He's like, oh yeah, I like how we switched rules up, blah blah blah. I can't remember quote for quote what happened, but there was this one thing that stood out to me where he goes, during that last segment, I turned to somebody and said, boy, I'm glad we didn't have like a 10 or 20 lap shootout, because this is a runaway. I'm like, dude, it's a runaway either way, 50 laps. Ryan Blaney's running away with the race. How can you turn to somebody and say, well, I'm glad we didn't have a 20 lap shootout because this would be a runaway? Were you watching the same race as I was? Because it was still a runaway. Marcus Smith sounded like a complete bozo. And
he did.
I apologize, Marcus Smith. But
no, don't apologize.
You sounded like a bozo in that interview. Like you were trying to talk up NASCAR as this big thing, and it was really just lame. I would like to hear what you have to say about it.
And I saw a report on his comments after the race, and Marcus Smith pretty much said, if people are going to complain. And I took that as a kind of a slap in the face.
Right.
Because when NASCAR fans see an all-star race, they expect excitement, beating and banging and stuff. And granted, the rules package and everything was outside of Marcus Smith's control.
Of course. Absolutely.
However, Marcus Smith not only owns and runs Texas Motor Speedway, they run Dover, Charlotte, New Hampshire, Las Vegas, a lot of different tracks, Sonoma, a lot of different tracks.
Correct.
That are available. Bristol. I mean, why focus on? Why put all your chips in on Texas?
Yeah, and I was trying to figure that out too, because he was really talking this big game up about
he was
how
talking,
Texas
he
was
was
good.
talking. He was talking the big game up of how Texas is good because he knows he has 2 races coming up here, and he wants to sell tickets for them.
Well,
Marcus Smith is a promoter above all.
Yeah,
he is not a overseer of NASCAR. He doesn't see the numbers, and he doesn't listen to the fans, which is the reason why when I'm still in the running for, as far as I know, Richmond Motor Speedway president.
You are?
I'm under consideration. They haven't said no yet. So if NASCAR hires me and Richmond Motor Speedway hires me to become their track president, I will beat Marcus Smith 10 times out of 10. I'll be the better promoter because you know what? I'm a fan. He can say he's a fan all he wants, but if he says that racing was good, he is full of crap. Like you said, he is a bozo. He is a fool. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And Marcus Smith sitting, let's bring Marcus Smith on the show.
Sure.
Defend the question, because now you're going to be talking to actual race fans who've been watching the sport for longer than most people could hold a job. If being a NASCAR fan was his job, I'd be retired by now.
Mm-hmm.
So would you. So would a lot of other fans out there. With what Marcus Smith was doing was slapping us in the face saying, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm all worried about selling tickets. I can give a crap how good the seats, how good of ticket sales you do. If the racing is good, butts will be in the seats.
Right.
And that's more of a NASCAR thing than a Marcus Smith thing, I feel. And that's kind of that's not Marcus Smith's fault. But for him saying that racing was good, we couldn't have asked for a better all-star race, and people are going to complain just for the sake of complaining. You're not listening to the fans, and nobody's going to fill those seats up come the race weekends for the actual points-paying races for Texas.
Nope.
Now, will it do it for Bristol? Bristol is a organic excitement. You'll get butts in the seat. I think the night race is sold out. Or it's close to being sold out.
Yeah, I think the new car will probably change a little bit than what we've seen in years past.
New Hampshire always has a decent crowd.
Right.
Las Vegas is doing better. Atlanta's doing better,
Yep.
especially with the repave. Atlanta was a great race this year. Sonoma, we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. It's a classic race on this NASCAR schedule. But when Marcus Smith said people are going to complain just to complain, you're not listening to 80% of the fans, according to Jeff Gluck's poll. That's a lot of ticket sales there, buddy.
Yeah, last time I checked, there was like upwards of like 30,000 votes on that poll in general. That's a lot of people.
And if I was Marcus Smith, I'd be going to NASCAR and be like, we need to fix something with Texas. Either I need to fix something with Texas and get rid of the progressive banking and fix all that. I need to fix Texas.
Yeah.
Texas. Or we're going to have to figure something out.
Right.
Or I'm going to have to buy Chicagoland and we're going to go back to Chicagoland because this isn't working.
No, the fact that the Racing Groove was like upwards of like maybe 2 lanes wide, and Texas is a wide track.
Right. And I've read a lot of stuff, and I've seen a lot of stuff on YouTube about the PJ1 has been down there so much. They applied so much on there that it has ruined the racing surface.
Yeah, I heard that too. I heard some people talking about that as well. They thought that maybe that just ruined it in general. And it probably did.
And IndyCar had a great race there. That was a great race that IndyCar brought to the circuit there at Texas. If you missed that race, you missed a heck of a race there for the IndyCar series. NASCAR, on the other hand, is a completely different series. As in Days of Thunder, the tires are twice as wide and the cars are half the weight of NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be completely different racing. But we've seen this trend for 3-4 years now, where they tried to make the racing better with the PJ1, and it hasn't worked.
And
and now they got and now they got the resin up there, and that isn't working. Rip up that track, repave it, and it might produce some good racing.
Do you think maybe they should fix the banking as well?
Yeah, make it symmetrical, or do what you did at Atlanta. Make it progressive banking, and make that because turn 1 and 2 are different than 3 and 4 in Texas.
Yeah, that's why some guys were able to kind of hold it a little bit more wide open in 3 and 4. And I care less.
And that's not just the Cup Series; that's the Truck and Xfinity Series as well. But now it's come to time, whether that track needs to be repaved or not, to repave the track and fix it. And you might have to wait till 2023 to do it now, but you can do it and throw a lifeline to Texas, because all the NASCAR fans I've talked to and I've interacted with, Texas is lowest on the list.
What if, so maybe it needs to be looked at as maybe a repave needs to happen. So then after this year, Texas only gets 1 date next year. So they get all that chance for the repave. Yeah. And then we'll see what happens after that.
And no all-star race whatsoever.
No, first of all, all-star race gone. Write that out of the record books at Texas. Bye, see you later. If that's going back again next year, we got a problem.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and because when they went to Bristol during 2020, during the COVID pandemic, that was supposed to be, we're taking it from Charlotte. And I see a trend here. It's going to go to SMI tracks. I don't care if it goes to SMI tracks or not. However, what I do see now is for the past 2 years, it's been at Texas. I thought it was going to go from Charlotte to Bristol to Texas, then to maybe New Hampshire, maybe Dover, and other places. Why are we stuck on Texas?
Yeah. So what I think needs, so I don't know. We're kind of getting like way off the beaten path. So we'll finish the race in a second. But what I think needs to happen is, I don't think we need to, and I've seen a lot of people talk about this, and I don't know why everybody's in agreement on this, but I hear so many people talk about this. They call in on Sirius XM and they're saying we should go to a different track every year. No, we should not go to a different track every year. I think it's wrong.
I agree with that.
No, I completely disagree with that. I think we either need to go back to Charlotte, because first of all, I am okay with some change, but like, if you want to keep it back to what NASCAR was doing before, or some people want to keep it back to what NASCAR used to do, why not keep it at Charlotte? When we had it at Charlotte, that was the thing. For the 2 weeks, you had your All-Star race, and then you had the Coke 600. And it was like this big extravaganza thing back when, NASCAR was a little bit more popular. I don't think it should go to different tracks. I think we should keep it like...
But I do.
No, you do, but I don't. I think we should keep it, go back to Charlotte if we can, or find a different permanent location for this. I heard some people on the way over here. I was listening to Dave Moody's afternoon drive show, and
Dave
a lot
Moody.
of people came up and said, we should do it at a short track. Like, maybe we should do like Bowman Gray. Maybe we should do Bowman Gray. And I was like, you know what? Okay, I'll be okay with that if it becomes like a permanent location. But I'm thinking of it in terms of the logistical side. With it being at Charlotte Motor Speedway, if you have teams that don't want to make such a drive anywhere, it's right there in the vicinity where a majority of your race teams are. Or like Maple said, I talked to him last night about it. Maple said, why not try it if North Wilkesboro is trying to build stuff up to at least bring back some of these lower division series racing? Why not try North Wilkesboro? It's within a reasonable distance to Charlotte.
Or Martinsville. Why does it got to be a SMI track?
Yeah, or Martinsville. It needs to be somewhere close. But the fact that people want to say we should move it around every year, I don't think we should. I don't think the All-Star should be moved around like that. It should be, and somebody else brought it up as well. Somebody said it should not. It should be at a track that the Cup Series does not race at.
Okay.
So they can't use it for studying reasons,
like testing,
like testing reasons. So like a Bowman Gray would be a great spot, or North Wilkesboro, because we know that the Cup Series is probably not going back to North Wilkesboro.
Not in the foreseeable
future.
No.
So that's what my opinion is. I don't think we should go anywhere else. It shouldn't be moved every year. The winner shouldn't pick the next track, as some people put on Twitter. That was a stupid response by some people. We should let the winner pick the next year's race. Shut up.
Oh,
no,
boy.
you shouldn't let anybody do that. That's a dumb idea, because then we'll be going to some stupid track on the West Coast or something. You know, it's whatever. You know,
right?
NASCAR just needs to figure it out. Started to figure it out with this car, but man, we're right back at zero. Anyway, so
you got to tell me about what Dave Moody said, because when Dave Moody comes on, the problem with Dave Moody, I like his show, I like his opinions, but the problem is when everybody brings up opinions that counteracts his, he shoots it down. He doesn't listen. Dave Moody doesn't listen, because what he does, I think he's a big proponent of the sport, and I think somebody's whispering in his ear and telling them, promote the sport. Don't make the sport look bad. Do this. Right. You're a puppet. You're a puppet. And unfortunately, that's Dave Moody. He calls a great race on an MRN. Yes, however, he's a bad host on a radio show, and he takes people's opinions and says, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, and when some people bring up great points.
Right. Well, he didn't really, from the amount of time I got to listen to it on the way over, he didn't really talk a whole lot about the racing at Texas. He was just taking phone calls and letting people express their opinions on what they think. And for the most part, he was kind of in agreement of having it at a short track, maybe like a Bowman Gray,
right?
Or like the LA Coliseum. You know, it's kind of, you get that beating and banging. That's what All-Star race probably should be. So he didn't really talk about so much as the racing at Texas, but I mean, if you want to get into why you think they should go everywhere, or if we can get into the final, like last 10 laps of the race too, whichever you want to do.
I'd rather get into the final 10 laps, and we'll save the switching around the races, I feel, for a question of the week.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I have a question of the week too. This week,
okay. I'd rather listen to yours.
But yeah,
that'll be a question of the week, maybe for next year's episode. But yeah, I want to hear.
Okay. So let's.
Hey, Ramblin' About Racing Nation. Like what you just saw, make sure to check us out at ramblinaboutracing.com and all your major podcast platforms for the audio version of the show. Or if you just like watching Ramblin' About Racing, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for upcoming episodes.